I'd like to call a regular council meeting of June 17th, 2025 to order. No public hearings are scheduled for this evening. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda from administration?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, there's, administration would like to add one item for closed session as 14.1.1, 2025 Alberta School Foundation Fund Levy. And this will be under advice from officials, section 29, subsection 1 of the Access to Information Act.
Thank you. Anything from council? Look for a motion to accept the amendment to the agenda. What would you like, Councillor Olson?
I'd just like to say we don't have to, because it's already on our agenda, so it's not
It wasn't on the public agenda, unfortunately. An acceptance of the amendment to the agenda. I'll call that question. All in favor? And the amended agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Cosby, thanks. And I'll call that question. All in favor? Good. Thank you. We don't have any public input tonight. We do, however, have one delegation and one presentation. We have with us tonight the Redwater Arts Society, and they'd like to talk to us about a mural.
Yes. Hi, I'm
Hi.
Terry Hanna. I'm the president of the Redwater Arts Society. This is Ursula. She's the vice president. You know her. Jeannie Hare and myself were here previously, and this is regarding the mural placement that we have done. And I guess it was approved that we could place the mural in the breezeway back behind there. We would like to change the location to that end. Yeah.
We're just looking for a
50th.
higher traffic area.
Yeah, higher traffic area. 50th Avenue side of this building, if possible.
I don't know if there's any other sites that would be available besides the breezeway, besides the one that she just mentioned here too. My concern really is that, well, it's not really a concern, but the Art Society's been part of the community for 45 years now. And I feel that I just would appreciate it, I guess we all would appreciate it if it was just in a more higher traffic area. I think it represents the town. It is going to, you know, a lot of tourists that are driving through. It just really adds a lot of color to the town. And we're hoping to maybe do more. So this time we had a lot of inputs from a lot of different artists, and it depicts a lot of different areas that are found within Redwater. So it's a very good representation. So I don't know what is all available for different sites. That what size is it again, Terry?
It is six 4x8 sheets of plywood, so 24 feet.
24 feet. Yeah.
And I understand the only concern so far is that when you were here last, council approved that location, so you're asking if we can approve the other location, rescind that one and
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
looking for a motion from Councillor Olson.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we rescind resolution 24-235 and approve the installation of the Redwater Art Society mural on the north side of the town hall.
Okay, super. Any discussion from council? Go ahead.
I agree putting it there, because putting it there, how many people are gonna see it? It's sad to see this type of art kinda hidden there. This does really put it up in the public.
Go ahead, Councillor Butcher.
I like what you said about maybe doing more mural.
Yes, I just think it, because we have a main drag going right through town, a lot of people, unless they need gas and they haven't gotten it by Tim Hortons, they're just gonna breeze right through. So I think the more inviting we make our main drag through the town, the more people may stop in to local businesses and actually frequent us more often, because we look a lot more interesting. You know, so I think we can kind of have a bit more of input in the future as well.
Go ahead, Councillor
The only
Spencer.
question I have is on this end here. Isn't there a kind of a indent on this wall?
They'll go for the
Door
door.
cove in there? How is that gonna?
I think Jeannie mentioned to me that it does have some kind of conduit or something there, but it just wouldn't be centered. But I guess they did measure it, and if they shift it, It's just not gonna be centered if you look at the.
Okay, so it still fits on one side
But
or
it
the
should
other.
still fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it fits above that door. There's a doorway there or whatever, so it would fit, I'm told. Okay. Anything else? Not seeing anything? I'll call that question. All in favor? Simple as that. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for attending.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you.
Enjoy your evening, and we're gonna go watch hockey.
Rub it in, why don't you?
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
See ya.
Oh, see, this foot's still lame.
We now have our presentation from our local detachment commander, Nathan, is with us again tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Kind of sad I'm missing the hockey game, but quick. We had a really quick presentation here today. So I'll be presenting on the fourth quarter of 2024-2025. So that was the last quarter of last fiscal year. So that incorporates January, February, March of 2025. So just going over our annual performance plan, crime reduction and prolific offenders, where we proactively interaction with prolific offenders. We monitored 6 prolific offenders during the fourth quarter, conducted 3 checks, and laid 0 charges. Everybody that we checked on was in compliance. We executed roughly 20 arrest warrants during that fourth quarter time. For our hotspot patrols, we are completing them daily. This is one where we really push it out to the community to really call in suspicious vehicles, suspicious calls, suspicious cars in the area, because that's what really designates our hotspot patrol areas, because we're going by stats of what areas we're getting the most calls about or which areas we're seeing the most crime. So definitely encourage everybody to call in anything they see suspicious. It's, no call's too small for the RCMP. Don't feel like you're wasting our time. We'll look at it. And then our CDSA investigations, we had 2 during the fourth quarter there, proactive CDSA investigations. Seized a little bit of meth off the streets on 2 different occasions. And then for community engagement, we held 1 town hall meeting during the fourth quarter. It turned out really good. There was about 30, 35 people that attended, so much better than the first one we held where we only had 6 people attend. So we had some pretty good input, some good communication. We had a presentation by OCC from the RCMP. I think there was a good turnout, and some really good questions were brought up during that town council or town hall meeting that we held there. We had roughly 8 interactions with community groups, and I'll go through some of those a little bit later. And our media briefs and raves. So we do our weekly rave Wednesday to Wednesday callouts. If you're not on the list, let me know and I can help you out getting on the list. But they come out, our corporal, Dylan Vahey, puts them out roughly every Thursday, if he remembers. And now we do have a social media account for the Redwater RCMP on Facebook, I believe. And we're putting some media releases out on that and some posts. We finally got approval after lots of red tape to do that. It's really strict, but we just got to watch what kind of comments are coming in and what people are saying. So, and then our next slide there is enforcement, visibility, and communities. So during the fourth quarter, we actually issued 233 tickets and gave out 70 warnings, which is pretty good for that fourth quarter. I know we had, the check stops, we did hold 4 check stops. During those 4 check stops, we had, I believe, 1 impaired, and that was it, which is great. We see for those check stops. We're always trying to push that impaired driver enforcement, and it was nice to see that people are starting to follow along and have designated drivers, or at least just refrain from drinking. And our Highway 2863 initiatives, we held 3 during that time. One was a big joint one with sheriffs, county, RCMP, and the CPOs out of both Thorhild and Sturgeon County came out. So it was a nice little proactive enforcement initiative. And then our last annual performance plan is the member employee wellness and respect. During the fourth quarter, we held 5 team building activities and events. I only have 3 listed here, but Stone Soup Day was a fun day, same as Spud Loving Day. Kind of helps out for lunch too for the rest of us, so it's kind of nice to enjoy. Some of the girls bring in some different foods, and it's pretty interesting. And then we did a hockey night out at the bar. Everybody behaved themselves, but a few of us all attended there to the bar at the Bears Den and enjoyed some drinks and some wings and just it was nice to socialize out of the work environment there. So, and then our community engagements for that last quarter was we do the Coffee with the Cop regularly at the beginning of every month. We do regular COP meetings. We try to attend as many as we can. All depends on how calls for service are going for the member that's working that night. It's always nice to have different people attend too, so all the members get to see what it's about. I think almost all of them have attended at least once, so that's nice to see. We did the Read-In Week with the school again. We held that at Town Hall. We had several school visits that took place, and a seniors fraud presentation at what's the lodge here in town?
Diamond Springs.
Diamond Springs, thank you, yes. Dylan was able to speak on that. He knows the frauds really well, and they really appreciate it. They've asked us to come back several more times, and we're just getting some plans in place to get going to those. We can also do those for anybody else that wants fraud presentations done. Reach out, and we can always facilitate that and try to, really educate the community on what kind of frauds we're dealing with. That's Dylan at our town hall in the picture there, enjoying his lovely donut. I had to put it in. So for the 2024-2025 fourth quarter, total calls for service in 2025 was 624. Last year there was 564. So we did go up about 10%. But you'll see within the important calls for service on the next page, the next slide, most things are going down. A lot of things that went up were traffic tickets are now in stats as well in there. So every time you do a traffic ticket, it also creates a stat or a file. So as we look at our annual stats for the fourth quarter, for our criminal code, our persons crime is down 24% from 63 to 48 calls for service. Our property crime is down 22%. It used to be 140, it's now down to 109. Other criminal code is down 54% from 28 to 13. And total criminal code is down 26% from 231 to 170. And then for our traffic offenses, our criminal code traffic went down 18% from 11 to 9. Our provincial code traffic went from 347 to 543. That's up 56%. That should also be noted that that includes the Redwater Traffic Services that is dealing out of our office. They're always on the road. They're always doing traffic enforcement. So they're contributing to a little over half of our total numbers there. And then for other traffic, we're up 100% with 1 from 0. And then some more common police activities have seen some increases and decreases in some areas. So police activities, so false alarms is down 13% from 8 to 7. Abandoned false 911 calls, no change, 9 before, 9 this time again. Suspicious person vehicle property is down 14% from 56 to 48. Again, I want to see that number come up. I really hope that people start calling in some stuff because I keep talking to people that are like, oh yeah, well, did you hear about this one? Did you hear about that one? And my neighbor told me about this. And it's like, well, we didn't get those calls. So no, I have no idea what's going on if they're not calling it in. Person reported missing, no change. We had 3 this last quarter, just like the quarter before. Search warrants, no change from 0 to 0. Spousal abuse went up 30% from 23 to 30, which was a bit of a shock because it actually went down over the Christmas holidays, but came up after the Christmas holidays. And actually in the last little while, we've been seeing a lot of domestic violence or domestic calls for service and mental health calls for service. So it's been a really big increase in this last little while. And our Form 10s during the last quarter was no change at 2 to 2. So the Form 10, if anybody doesn't know what that is, that's mental health, where somebody's actually apprehended under the Mental Health Act because they're either a danger to themselves, danger to others, or they're incapable of taking care of themselves properly. So that could be reasons why they're apprehended. Say quick and fast. I'll open the floor to questions.
Anything through to Sergeant Dan? Yes, Councilor Butcher.
Not so much a question. It's good to see that during the criminal codes that they're coming down, because this gives us the ability to let our residents know that we're a safe community, and you guys are working very hard to keep it safe for us. So this is nice, so we can bring this out to the rest of the residents in town. If they inquire about it, we have the ability to give them information as well, correct?
Yeah, for sure. I believe I sent out to Ken both our stat sheet, which really breaks down the calls for the service over the last 5 years. You're welcome to publish that if you wish to. It shows a lot more detailed calls for service and exactly over the last 5 years, how they've been sitting and how they're going right now, so, over the last quarter at least.
Anything else to Sergeant Dan? I'll put in another shameless plug for your RAVE publication. That's a great tool for anybody to get online with and get information as to what's happening. They talk about the Redwater area, they talk about the Thorhild area, and they talk about the Sturgeon area, so you get a good cross-section of what's happening in and around. And at the same time, you also have the ability now online to report certain crimes, correct?
Yes, 310 RCMP is the phone number now. There should have been a couple of publications put out about that. Anytime you need to call in, if you don't think it's an emergency, it doesn't need immediate response. 310 RCMP, it's an easier way to reporting it. Instead of going through our dispatch and listening and having to answer a whole bunch of questions, you can actually go that way, and it's a little easier that way. So
There's also still the app.
still the app, yes, as well.
A little later in our agenda, we have some communication from Eastern Alberta District about the police funding model. And I just noticed in going through that we didn't qualify for extra members or support staff in the last rollout of extra members based on the police funding model. But that's because of our crime stats, those phone calls you're looking for, the people you want to phone in and say this is happening.
Yes, the crime stats will definitely help if people start calling in everything. Like I said, maybe somebody cut a lock off your shed and didn't steal anything. That's still important to us because that means someone's in the area that shouldn't be in the area. If someone's trying to access that, might have got scared away. We want to see those calls for service because that's what's going to show where the funding needs to go and if we need to really increase our employment here in the Redwater area. So.
I don't see anything else from council, anything from administration. I know you're still meeting regularly with our CAO, so that's a good connection. Anything current?
Administration.
No.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you for coming to visit us again. We'll see you after the next quarter is tallied and ready to go for presentations. So thank you for all you do, and like Councillor Butcher said, we're very lucky to have you here in the community. So
It's great to be here, so thank you for having me.
thank all the fellows and ladies for those preventative patrols and those hotspot patrols.
Yeah, for sure, and we'll keep those up. So, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. We're down to 8.1, which is the adoption of the minutes of council meeting of June 3rd. The regular meeting of council.
I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 regular council meeting.
Thank you. Discussion, errors, omissions. Councillor Cosby.
Under 11.3.6.2, your name is missing under the
11 what?
11.3.6.2. Mayor is missing from the voting.
There we are.
Pretty sure I was here.
Where?
And Councillor Melnick, are you prepared to amend your motion to the amended minutes?
Yep.
To include my name in that? Okay. Any further discussion, errors or omissions? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. And then we now have 8.2, which is the June 3rd, 2025 public hearing. Councillor Williams.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes for the public hearing on June 3rd for bylaw PD 01-2025.
Thank you. Discussion, errors or omissions? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in order? All in favor? Thank you. All right. Any business arising out of the minutes or unfinished business from administration?
Nothing from administration, Mr. Mayor.
Anything from council? Nothing under bylaws. New business, RFD 2025 golf tournament. Ms. Melnick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. So, the purpose of this request for decision is the golf tournament committee was seeking approval for the proposed recipients of the proceeds for the 2025 annual golf tournament. The proposed motion is that we move that the proceeds from the 2025 annual golf tournament be allocated as follows: $1,000 to the bursary fund, and then the remaining funds to be distributed as 50% to the Redwater Legion and 50% to the MDC Arts Association. The recommendation is that council carries the proposed motion. The background of this RFD is to consistently and fairly allocate the annual golf tournament fundraiser proceeds. The Golf Tournament Committee reviews applications submitted by the community groups, organizations to receive the proceeds after expenses each year. For discussion, the Golf Tournament Committee has reviewed all applications listed below and has forwarded its recommendation for council approval. 6 applications were submitted, and they were the Redwater Legion, the Redwater Arts Society, MDC Arts Association, Friends of the Public Library Society, Redwater and District Pioneer Club, Redwater Family Rec Society. The committee recommends allocating the proceeds after reserving the $1,000 for the bursary fund to the following 2 community groups, which is the Redwater Legion and MDC Arts Association. Based on their applications, MDC has grown to 280 dancers that draws students from Redwater, Fort Saskatchewan, Lamont, Bruderheim, Radway, Thorhild, Newbrook, Gibbons, Bon Accord, and other areas throughout Sturgeon County. The Redwater Legion cares for those who have served our nation and their families, providing a safe, non-judgmental place for veterans and their families to gather and socialize through a wide variety of Legion-hosted activities for all ages. For the financial implications, there are no financial implications since all the funds are from proceeds from the sponsorships and golfer registrations. The only internal impacts is the staff time to plan and execute the tournament, and there's no significant external impacts. With this strategic alignment, it aligns with the economic and successful growth. Because businesses feel positive about contributing to the Redwater Golf Tournament, it provides opportunities to network and engage in their community in a charitable way. I also think that it coincides with the engagement and communication because the golf tournament connects residents, businesses, and local groups in a relaxed and friendly setting. It's a great chance to shed some light on our local non-for-profits, and this helps build stronger relationships. It also helps with service excellence. By supporting our nonprofits, we can offer better services for our residents, as sometimes these groups often provide things that the town can't provide on its own. And the destination of choice for an affordable community. The annual golf tournament helps make Redwater a go-to spot and an affordable place to live. It gives us a chance to showcase what it has to offer and how we can also support our community.
Thank you very much. Councilor Melnick? I thought I saw you lift your hand.
I'd like to make the proposed motion, move that the proceeds for the 2025 annual golf tournament be allocated as follows. $1,000 to the bursary fund and the remaining funds to be distributed as 50% of the remaining funds to the Redwater Legion and 50% of the remaining funds to MDC Arts Association.
Thank you. Any discussion by council? Go ahead, Councilor.
I will not be voting on this due to a conflict of interest as president of the Legion.
Thank you for that information. Anything else, Councilor Butcher?
I am just amazed that they have 280 dancers. People don't know how many people come in, and it helps our economic development as these people come in, well, and they can do, the parents can do things for even the parents' dance. So it's an amazing feat.
If I'm not mistaken, at our committee member, we heard that there is actually some folks coming from Athabasca regularly for dancers to take part in our dance classes. So the economic spin-off is huge. And I thank the committee for bringing these forward and for Councillor Olson to present his position clearly. Anything else from council? Call a question, all in favor? No opposition? That's carried. And, like, part of that whole process in your RFP, you've got the staff commitment to helping make the tournament a success. I can honestly tell you that I've had at least 15 people stop me and want to know when our tournament is. And that's because of the input put into it by our staff and our volunteers who help out tremendously. So thank everybody for that. I know the committee appreciates all of the input. So
Thank you.
thank you. All right, 11.2, the Sturgeon County MDP. Ms. Lane, I believe we're in your world.
You definitely are. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The purpose of this request for decision is to provide a formal opportunity for Council to review and express their views, opinions, and concerns, if any, about the Sturgeon County Municipal Development Plan, Bylaw 1681-25. The proposed motion is that Council direct administration to send correspondence as circulated to Sturgeon County in response to their notice of their bylaw in accordance with the Municipal Government Act. The recommendation is that Council responds to Sturgeon County's notice of their bylaw in accordance with the Municipal Government Act as per the attached letter of response. Just a little bit of background. Administration received the notice of the proposed bylaw dated May 27th. After careful review of the proposed bylaw, a letter of response was written. Administration did actually plan to attend the Sturgeon County MDP drop-in information session on June 16th, and I confirmed that I was indeed there yesterday, and also confirmed that with Sturgeon County administration that the MDP was a modernization of their current MDP, and that there are no changes to the lands within the intermunicipal development plan within the surrounding area of Redwater. Council may wish to amend the letter of response prior to submission to Sturgeon County. And after careful review of their bylaw of the proposed MDP, Sturgeon County's growth management strategy map indicates that there are no proposed changes in or around the town of Redwater. And it's further supported on page 27 of the MDP. And in addition, although the proposed MDP indicates that any new residential and non-residential development shall be supported by existing planning documents, there is no specific mention in Sturgeon County's MDP that growth in and around the town of Redwater would benefit the region as a whole. And this speaks to the intermunicipal collaboration framework that the town of Redwater is currently in discussion with. And you'll see that the context of that also written into the letter. This theory is again supported on page 45 of the MDP. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Council? Go ahead, Councillor Mellon.
I'll make the proposed motion that council direct administration to send correspondence as circulated to Sturgeon County in response to their notice of bylaw 1681/25 in accordance with the Municipal Government Act.
Thank you. Anything from council?
Go ahead, document to say everything's staying the same.
I can honestly tell council that I spent probably 4 hours going through this. I know Councillor Cosby was in a similar time frame, and I know you all went through it as well. So there's an awful lot of time spent with respect to it, but I picked out a couple of salient points, and I think one of them is in their strategic decision-making material. They're looking for that an applicant for a development conduct a fiscal impact assessment that illustrates the full life cycle developmental cost to Sturgeon County. So if you've got a new subdivision coming online and you drop a sewer line in the ground and it costs you $1.6 million to build that, in your proposal, you have to explain to Sturgeon County what that's going to cost over the life of that infrastructure, including, I'm assuming, although it's not identified specifically, replacement cost.
That's more red tape. It's more cost put on the developer.
Yeah. The interesting thing is they preface that with may.
Yeah.
As opposed to must.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting, but I thought it was kind of a interesting presentation to say we want the life cycle information. We don't just want the fact that you're dropping it in the ground. We want to know. I have a question for Ms. Lane, and I'm not sure you can actually answer it, but it was interesting. In 2.2.3, it says, should discourage the use of panhandles as a way to provide residential subdivisions with legal and physical access to a municipal roadway. What might a panhandle be?
I think and I don't really know the exact answer to that, but if I was to envision it, it would be just to allow for proper access going in and not to disallow any proper access.
Okay.
But I'm guessing.
Go ahead, Councilor Crosby.
Basically, a panhandle is what it is. If you have a square quarter section and you go to take a parcel out, they want a nice clean cut quarter section, like a rectangle or square, not something that just goes a little strip for the roadway and then you still have the acreage up here, so they want to eliminate.
Oh,
Okay.
We have one of those.
driveway or,
Yeah.
Correct.
Access route. Okay.
Also on it was on the map, the very first map that came out in the document, where it talks about Redwater being, and it appears initially that it's Redwater is in number 1 zone on that. So we did have discussion about that yesterday. So they're going to be amending that map so that it clearly differentiates that Redwater is not in that number 1 zone, because that's initial view is what it looks like.
And I noticed that they clearly indicated in here their support of recreational infrastructure outside of the county being a friendly development, that it's beneficial for their residents and
Albert.
It doesn't say that in here, but.
No, but we all know they've given large sums of money to the city of St. Albert for the use of their, whatever they call their big Millennium Place.
So also to keep in note is that this is a modernization of the existing MDP. They will be revising it later. This is just the modernization. So we'll have another chance to take a look at this when they do go to formally revise it.
And the only thing I found questionable is SDA 1.1C, where they're discouraging the development or expansion of confined feeding operations from town municipal boundaries. They list us there. It would have been nice to see prohibit as opposed to discourage, but that's my idea with respect to it. So.
There is a higher board that approves when it comes to confined feeding operations, so I can understand the logic behind that.
That's what delayed the initial signing of the initial NDP.
Well, they also had issues
Yes.
some time ago with that very issue, so that, anything else from council? Thank you for attending to the open house and relaying the information you had. That was great. Not seeing anything from council, I'll call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. We also have an RFD for the public tax auction, which is 11.3 on the agenda, and I believe that's yourself, Ms. Tingley.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. So this process began in March of last year when administration reviewed all of the tax arrears and sent the list to land titles. Tax notification was then, or land titles registered notification on the titles that were in arrears, and notification was sent out to the landowners by both the municipality and land titles. So any properties that remain in arrears the following March 31st of this year are now up for auction. So we have the auction date set for Tuesday, November 18th of this year. A fall auction allows us more time from when they receive that notification to when the auction is to get their affairs in order, maybe set up tax agreements. So at this time, we have one property that remains up for auction, could not reach a tax agreement to bring to council. The appraiser is set to come out to appraise the property ahead of the July 2nd meeting. So that's when you'll see the RFD for the minimum bid. But at this time, we will just be setting the auction date for Tuesday, November 18th. And that concludes my RFD.
Go ahead, Councillor
I'll
Spicer.
move that the 2025 public tax auction be held on Tuesday, November 18th, 2025.
Discussion.
Only thing, the guy's coming out to assess the property, and I have no clue which piece of property it is, so I'm not making a comment on that property. But the thing that's bothering me is, I've said it before, we've had some other ones that have come up, and they say that they're worth $79,000 as standing, but they're junk. They're bulldozable. You're going to spend $50,000 bulldozing it down, and why would you say that it's worth $79,000? And so I think our assessor needs to kind of look at that. I don't know if he can or not, but.
So this property is unique in that we have a inspection report. So I provided them to that, or I provided that to them to avoid them having to gain access to the inside of the building. So it outlines everything that they need for that. So I'll wait to see what they come back with. My assumption is that it will be reflected in the value that they provide us with, and if not, I will discuss that with them. Because I agree.
Yeah, because if you're gonna buy it for $79,000, like I said, I don't know what this property is. $79,000 is gonna cost you $50,000 to destroy it. Why would you pay $79,000? You may pay the $29,000 for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, I'll just jump in on this one. One of the differences that Allegra alluded to is that we do have an inspection on this property, which we haven't on others. And the inspection is pretty hefty. So it would surprise me if it wasn't given land value, but at the end of the day, we'll wait and see what they do. But that's the intent. It's something we'd like to do moving forward, is execute those notice to inspect and then have someone inspect.
Anything else from council? And it has to be market value sale, or can an application be made in those circumstances for below market value? I think the auction itself has to be market value, correct?
Yeah, and so that's something we can discuss more once we get the value with the ranges, and it might involve me contacting Municipal Affairs just for some extra guidance, because this is a different property than what I've seen in the past.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything else? Call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Reports. I'll start. Councillor Olson, anything further to yours?
As presented, George.
Thank you. Councillor Cosby.
As presented.
Councillor Spicer.
I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Councillor Butcher.
My report be ready for Cal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Melnick.
Nothing, Your Worship.
Councillor Williams. And mine as presented. I'll look for a motion to accept reports. Go ahead.
Motion.
Thank you, Councillor Cosby. Discussion? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Correspondence and information items, 13.1. Our Minister, the Honorable Dale Nally, is coming to visit Redwater for an open house town hall. And he is going to be at Pembina Place on June 23rd from 5:30 to 7. And he would really like to see as many people as possible. Council is always welcome with Minister Nally, so if you have the opportunity, please stop by and talk with Dale. Town of Gibbons has sent us an invitation and registration for their Pioneer Days on July 12th. As per normal, I would assume the fire truck will be up and running, and there'll be a crew to head down. I would encourage all of council, if there's any chance you can show up for the parades, do so. It's a really good chance to network with other municipalities, but it's also a really great opportunity to meet with different residents from the different communities and stuff, because they'll seek you out. Right as you get off the float, they'll come and talk to you quite happily. So that's July 12th, probably a Saturday, I would imagine.
Saturday.
Yeah. We also have an email from St. Albert. During my absence, I asked Councillor Williams if she would stand in and participate in the Rainmaker parade. I believe you took the RAV and was in the parade. And we have a thank you from St. Albert for participating. And I know you had mentioned to me you thought it was a great day, so.
It was really good. It was a lot of fun. Interacted with a lot of people with the floats. Once you went to the other part, it was a little different, but it was fun going down and talking to everybody and checking out their floats before we started. And we were really early, and the float didn't start. I think the parade didn't start till like 10 o'clock. We were there at 8. So it was a long day, but it was fun.
Thank you for helping out with that. Our next item is information from the provincial government. They're looking for a level of service response for fire. My understanding is the Municipal Government Act will be changed to require us to establish levels of service for our fire department. I know Mr. Van Buell has been in conversation with our fire chief as to how this will play out or may play out. There is the invitation there. I think it's a virtual session, so you're all welcome. And Mr. Van Buell will bring back more information with respect to it at a future meeting. Police funding model resource allocation. So with respect to this, as you all know, because of our population base, we fall under the Provincial Police Service Agreement provisions for looking after police direction and guidance and that sort of thing. Under the police funding model, because we're under 5,000 in population, we're totally at the province's decision-making process, I guess, as to how many officers we have, how much support staff we have, calls for service, that sort of thing, the root cause of crime. As I mentioned with Sergeant DeHaan when he was here, if you look down, I think it's probably about page 6 on the package. Over 4 years, the Alberta RCMP have added 136 regular member positions directly at detachment level. 34 of those positions were regular member positions were added to the Eastern Alberta District, and you can see the communities that those were logged into, and we are not on that list. So we're running with the same complement we've had. The next page, the civilian positions. They added 20 new ones in the Eastern Alberta District, and as you can see, we didn't qualify for any of those. Sergeant Dehan was quite correct. A lot of that decision-making process relies on the calls for service. So I can't stress enough to council when you're talking with people and they say, you should have seen what happened the other night, da 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 da. The admonishment is, if you didn't phone the police, you're hurting us. Call the police and let them know. And his comment was, there isn't a call, it's too small. So on Saturday, Saturday morning, I phoned the detachment because there was a strange vehicle out on the golf course in the pouring rain. There was nobody around. It was just a vehicle sitting there. And so I phoned the detachment and they headed right out. They headed over to see what was going on. They knew that that's an area there's been some crime and what have you. And the president of the golf course was very happy that somebody phoned in his truck because he had a newer truck and it wasn't recognized by anybody. But it could have been anything. So make those phone calls. Then we've got, go ahead.
Sorry, just on this one before we get down and everything. I like how they put on the PPSA slides 2 and 3. This funding model is 70% provincial.
30 federal.
Federal, yeah, but they should put in there that the breakdown, that how much we're paying per capita maybe or something. It's not completely the whole province, it's the municipalities that are paying as well.
And I'll tell you from conversations I've had with other council members from other municipalities, the province's answer is, we pay the bill. That's why we're on the thing. And they're saying, fine, but we're giving you the money to pay the bill.
Well, I pay the power bill, but I'm sure Linda would still like to acknowledge that she paid some, you know.
And of course, the other thing is that with the PPSA, we fall under the provincial agreement. And I'm not sure about anybody else on council, but I have not seen anything from the oversight group coming to us direct.
No.
I haven't been invited to partake in any kind of fact-finding or anything else, and I don't know if administration has, but I can honestly tell you I haven't, so. But they are reviewing that, and I am scheduled for a online meeting on July 3rd to review the police funding model, and I believe that is because, as was mentioned a couple times already at this table, at Alberta Munis, we were told that the increase is going to be extremely heavy, looking at plus 25%, and perhaps plus 30%.
And as I said before, them getting new guns and cameras has got nothing to do with us. It's a policy directed out of Ottawa. Ottawa should be paying for it.
If we're not careful, they'll come up with a police funding model.
Yeah.
So I believe what we have is to some extent a duplication of the information. It's the same information, just in a different format that's been provided to us by the RCMP. So Alberta Munis prepare for the Municipal Affairs Survey on recall. As you're aware, the provincial government recently removed all code of conduct provisions within municipalities, and they are conducting some interviews. They've had some engagement with Alberta Munis. There is a section of the Summer Municipal Leaders Caucus coming up that will deal specifically with the recall legislation for councils, which would, in my opinion, from what I've read, would take over the code of conduct scenario. So they're looking for input on that to Alberta Munis. And they've provided us with their brochure and the background of how the recall rules are being anticipated to be interpreted. Preliminary recommendations to improve, that's the second part of that same one. We have a thank you from STARS. As you're aware, in our budget process, we budget a per capita amount to STARS, and STARS has sent a thank you note for that. And then we have an email that was received from Mrs. Lupino regarding Tony Park and the condition of it. It was interesting. I know she had contacted administration and everything. She sent the same email to myself. I left the house. I drove around the corner to go and take a look at it, and our administration already had staff in the park working on it. So I'm sure they'll be continuing the upgrades and the maintenance of the local parks. There's a lot of them. So
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Mayor, so actually I'm not usually surprised by a lot, but this one caught me by surprise, so I went and spoke to my team. What we have found in that park is we're going to add another garbage can to that park. We're also going to relocate the existing garbage can that's in the park. The kids like to take the top off the garbage can, and they use it to build sandcastles in the play pit. So, what normally happens is the lid remains off it, and then, as you can imagine, the birds and other things decide to pull stuff out of the bin. So it is one of our trouble garbage areas. My team is aware of it, but as I said, I was a little bit. This one took me a little bit by surprise, so I called out to my guys and had a chat to them, and they were pretty quick to respond. But we'll be staying on top of it moving forward. So.
thank you. Look for a motion from council to accept the general correspondence.
I'll make that motion to accept the general.
Thank you, Councillor Butcher. Discussion? Anything we missed in that? Call that question. All in favor? That's carried. And then with action, the Alberta Development Officers Association, and I believe Ms. Lane is part of that organization, if I'm not mistaken, is looking for a declaration for their Development Officers Week, if I'm not mistaken.
September.
Yeah, in September. The proclamation fits our model, does it not, Ms. DeWitt?
Yes.
And it's supportive of Ms. Lane's position within the organization.
I'll make that motion to move forward with this proclamation.
Sure you would.
Anything from council? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor of the proclamation? That's carried. Looking for a motion from council to move to closed session, if I could.
That motion.
Councillor Spicer, thank you. It'll just be a minute for the electronics to catch up.
Did you vote on it? You vote on it?
Oh, yes, all in favor?
0.
Go ahead. All right, Counselor Cosby,
Council return to open session.
thank you. Any discussion? Call that question, all in favor? That's carried. Counselor Spicer,
Motion to move the administration temporarily fund the $56,962.90 under levied balance of the Alberta School Foundation Fund levy out of the Special Projects Reserve account and include the $56,962.90 with the 2026 Alberta School Foundation Fund levy for the 2026 combined assessment and tax notices.
thank you. Any discussion from council? Not seeing any, I'll call that question, all in favor? And that's carried. Oh, Counselor Olson, go ahead.
Adjourn.